Do you see a connection between these two companies coming together, or these four companies coming together?
I think there's no question there's a connection, and part of it is simply represented by the complexity of our payments infrastructure today. And I don't mean this just for these two companies, I mean this for everybody. You see Airbnb, and again, purportedly, it hasn't been confirmed, they're talking about spending $10 to $20 million to solve their payments problem, where they have a traveler, a guest in Australia, paying in Australian dollars, being hosted by a host in the UK in British pounds, enabling that payment, collecting the payment, dispersing the payment. That's actually a very complicated thing to do because our global infrastructure is so slow and has an error rate that can approach 10%.
Is this the same kind of thing Ripple's trying to do?
For sure. Ripple's view of the world is, why can't value move the way information moves today? We can stream video from the surface of Mars, but I can't get money to London in the next 3 or 4 days. The fastest way for you and I to decide to take $10,000 to London right now would be to go buy a plane ticket and fly there.
Strap it to our legs, and you're not encouraging money laundering, just to be clear. Tim Culpen, there is an international component to this, certainly, and I wonder, particularly when we see the Alipay notion here, or Ant Financial, I should say, that they're looking to somehow for a beachhead into the U.S. For payments and banking even.
Yeah, exactly. And as Brad pointed out, payments is such a pain point for global commerce, and especially in e-commerce. When you think about it, e-commerce is all about not using cash. So, the pain points include logistics, actually physically moving a product from A to B. There's the user interface, an app, or some way to actually find a product and decide you want to purchase it. And then there's payments. And for Jack Ma and Ant Financial and the Alibaba Group buying MoneyGram, it helps solve that, especially given that Jack Ma does want to do more in the US. He wants to get, he said, 1 million small and medium enterprises in the US on his platform to sell US goods to China, but they don't really have a payments platform to do that. Alipay is very big in China, but it basically doesn't exist in the US. So by doing that, he's actually helping aid this flow of goods from the US to China. And so that's really one of the reasons why he would want to do this purchase.
Brad, I'm surprised that we haven't seen Google, Facebook, Amazon look at the banking sector or look at payments in some big, serious way. I'm surprised, period, but I read a study recently that suggested people are very willing to look at those companies if they were to offer such a service, and yet they haven't. Why do you think?
Well, you're exactly right. Accenture did a study just this past month that said 1 out of 3 consumers globally would consider switching their financial institution to one of the kind of big...
That was a piece I saw, yeah.
Exactly. And I think actually it's what we're really seeing, I agree with what Tim said, but Ant Financial's acquisition, almost $1 billion to expand into this space, I think is coming to fruition of something Ana Botín, the chairwoman of Santander, talked about almost 2 years ago. She said, banks' biggest competitors are not other banks. They're this new age of digital companies where the trust and the brand relationship and the touch points are very high. And she said banks should be more worried about Facebook and Apple and Amazon. And I think what we're seeing with Ant Financial's acquisition is really maybe the first shot across the bow. And I think banks have an opportunity to upgrade their infrastructure, to provide better services, better capabilities, such they can compete on a level playing field.
Is it a zero-sum game where the transactions and the fees might stay the same, just moved into new technologies? Or do you think overall, just as we were describing with the cloud business earlier in the show, that the value of what you get is the same, but the money being spent is a lot less?
I think there's no doubt that the cost and friction associated with this is going to come down dramatically over the next 10 years. We can have good debates about who's going to win and what technologies are going to win, but at the end of the day, I do think the banks will continue to be at the center of this. I think some, for example, the Bitcoin community have argued that down with the banks, down with the government.
Right.
Down
Bitcoin will replace Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and
Citi. The banks aren't going away, the governments aren't going away, and really fiat currency isn't going away. And so Ripple takes the point of view of how do we enable banks to compete on that level playing field by selling them the same kind of technologies that Bitcoin is built upon, such they can have real-time reconciliation real time, and an error rate that, again, in Silicon Valley, we talk about 5 nines of reliability. The VMware guest talking about reliability at a very high level. Our global financial infrastructure today has maybe 1 9 of reliability, an error rate that ranges from 5 to 10%.
I didn't know it was that big. Tim Culpen, real quick here, 90% of Bitcoin trades are happening in China. Is Ant sort of thinking about that too, in the way that money is being transferred out of China and wants to get a piece of that?
Well, I mean, basically, Ant Financial already has so much in the area of financial services. The very fact that Alibaba decided to hive off Ant into a separate company shows that it's really more than Alipay. They've got money market products. They've got all sorts of other things like insurance products, small loans, and doing some kind of blockchain technology. I don't think they'll get so much into Bitcoin itself, but blockchain as a technology itself would make sense for them to look into. It doesn't necessarily solve any problems because they've already got an infrastructure in place, but really, as you point out, so much of the transaction volume does go through China or is from Chinese in and out of the country and internally. So clearly the Chinese community and the Chinese users in China are very willing to adapt to these kinds of transactional services that are purely mobile. There is no physical bank for them to deal with, and they don't really mind.